Did anyone miss getting a ticket? There we go. He's going to hand them out. Awesome. So while they're doing that, I'll just say welcome. I've had an awesome time at BronyCon. I can hope all of you have. It's been, This is my third year coming, and it's been better each time. It's been a lot of fun. I think this year, a lot of the panels and workshops they have been great. It's very diverse. I was really excited about that. I'd like to thank everybody for coming. If you've seen one of my panels in the past, we always have a like a raffle at the end. Normally, I make little tiny sitting ponies that are exclusive to my panels. And this year was very busy for me to get ready to be here, so I wasn't able to do that. So instead, I decided I would feature a new plush maker, or at least new to me, after I got a chance to talk to her and her son, who is actually the person who makes the plushes, but didn't tell me that at first. They've been doing it for about a year or so. And he uses all the money that they make from their plushies to pay for his college tuition. So I have two of those ponies today. One is his Mod Pie, and the other one is his, Octavia, Octavia, and the other one is Coco Pomel. So those will be fun. And then we're going to give one of my Apple Jacks away today. So we're going to do that. So I guess I'll just tell you a little bit about me first. Some of you know me already, and I'm sure some of you are new. I've been sewing pretty much all of my life. I started making ponies about 3 years ago, and I fell in love with the whole community. You guys are all such awesome people. You know, most of us grown-ups have to go out and work like the boring jobs all day long, and to be able to come out and actually be with you is a lot of fun. It's much better than the day-to-day stuff that we all have to do. So thank you for letting me be a part of the fandom. I really enjoy it. That's good. Yeah. I have a slideshow, but I really don't know how to work my son's computer. So there he is. He's making his way up here. If I touched it, it'd probably do crazy things. So on here, I have a slideshow. I have shown it before, and I apologize for not having something new. I will next year for sure. But it's going to kind of go through all the different steps I do to make plushes. It's going to feature Pinkie Pie. If you don't know this, about me already, Pinkie is my favorite pony, and she's my favorite because she likes to have fun and she likes to include everybody in her fun. So I think that that's important, that everybody should be able to be a part of whatever they want to be a part of, however they want to be a part of it. So I got started with my girlfriend's daughter. She wanted to make pony OCs for her girlfriends for Christmas, but didn't know how to sew. So I told my girlfriend, sure, I'll go over, I'll teach her how to sew. So I went over there and we sat there and she showed me what it was she wanted to do, and I said, okay, we can probably do this, and we made our first pattern. And you can see up on the screen, that's actually the first pony, complete pony I ever made, and I thought it was awesome. You know, it was like so much fun to make it. And then we started working on the pattern. She came over the next weekend and we really started working on it, and we got to this point. These are actually the 3 OCs that she ended up making. It took a little longer than we anticipated. The eyes and cutie marks on these 3 she hand embroidered the whole thing. It was before, you know, I knew about machine embroidery at all. She didn't know how to do that either. I taught her how to do that. And then also while she was there, yes, this is my second Pinkie. As you can tell, I like Pinkie. She already was on DA. If all of you aren't familiar with that, DA is like a Facebook for artists kind of thing. And so she took me on there and she showed me what some of the other pony artists were doing. I mean, there's plushes and prints and sculptures. I'm sure all of you have probably seen it for the most part. And she showed me a lot of plushes, and I thought, oh my gosh, they could be so much better. So then she started coming over kind of almost every weekend, and we started working on it. And then this was the next pony that I made with her. And then shortly after that, I got my husband involved because he's like, you know, one of those super smarty people, and he can draw really well, and I can't draw. Oh no, stick people. I can't, that's about it. I can sew though. So he helped me with drafting patterns, and that was kind of an adventure. The what you see here, like Twilight and Maud and Sunset Shimmer, that now is probably around 32 pattern, you know, tweaks and fixes and total changes, and we're pretty happy with it now. I think we've kind of settled, but you never know, you're always changing things. A lot of times patterns will be affected by the fabric that you're using. I can be getting it from one supplier for a year and then do another order, and it comes in and it doesn't behave the same way because they changed the process that they are using to create the fabric. So the pattern will not stretch right, so now I'm going to make a new pattern. So that's kind of very important to know about your fabric. So anyway, this was the next progression that we went to. We kind of improved the body, and we wanted to get the little hind part in. So as you can see on the picture, it's very exaggerated. And so we thought, okay, well, that kind of looks good, but not really. And this one, I believe I have a felt eye. Oh, no, this was the printable paper stage. I thought, okay, how am I going to do these eyes and make them look like the show? We thought, well, we can capture a picture, print it, and apply it. I had seen that on some of the other plush makers that I had seen were doing that, and I thought it looked pretty good. So I did that one on that one, and it looked good, but it wasn't really soft, you know, like cuddly, or so I wasn't totally pleased with that. And we started looking at embroidered sheens at that point. So on the next one, we have embroidered eyes. We fixed that back leg a little bit so it's not quite so big. Rounded the tummy a little more, so we made that change. And we also changed the face a little bit to be a little more round, because you know our ponies are a little kind of round and chubby a little bit. So it took, from between those two, it was probably about 6 or 7 pattern changes to arrive at that. At this point also, the main pattern and the tail pattern, we pretty much had that dialed in. Pinkies is one of the easiest to like draft on paper, because it doesn't have a lot of colors or anything like that. Okay, and then the next one is, again, you might have seen that we actually made her a little taller so that you could see her round chest here that's so prominent in the cartoon. Because our game at this point was we wanted it to look as show accurate as possible. Everybody has their own viewpoint on how they make their plushes. Some make them for, you know, be squishy, or maybe sleeping or laying down, or chirpy, or different things like that. We try to do like kind of show accurate ones, more of a soft sculpture more than really a stuffed animal. But they're definitely sturdy enough to play with. Okay, next one. Okay, on this one, we started working on the leg, the shape of the leg. It needed to be more swooped. We'd had it kind of too, just kind of pudgy on the bottom, and we wanted it to come out a little more like that. So on this pattern, we were improving that, and also the bottom. The bottom, you have to be really careful when you stuff it. If you just start holding it and stuffing it, it'll kind of get round. So it's kind of a technique for creating the flat foot by having it down on the table and stuffing it like this. You also want to maybe put in something that might be stiff that's there. You could put any number of things, from wood to interfacing, that will also help keep your foot flat, if that's something you even want to worry about. Next, what's next? That's it? Okay, so then the next pictures are going to kind of walk you through the process that I have for making the ponies, and I'll just let that run a little bit, and then maybe we'll slow it down. It's fine. Kind of showing the cutting out. And this is the ear. The ear is very interesting. It's so many steps to the ear. You wouldn't think so, right? Just a little ear. No, no, no. It's lots of steps. This is pinning it together Pinning is really important with minky. It tends to want to move this way or that way because of the nap on minky. So pinning is, until you're really super confident, is really important to keep it just where you want it. Let's put the ears in. Sewing the ears in. Here we go. Now she's sewn. She's all sewn together. And you're going to start stuffing her. I always start with the legs and the body. I know, right? They look kind of funny when you're stuffing them, huh? Here we go. Now she's all stuffed up. And then this is doing the mane. Cut it out. Then you sew the design lines in. Once again, you do all the pinning. After you sew it, you clip it and then stuff it up. Nope. Go back. Technical difficulties. All right. That's fun. Okay. So that kind of gives you a little bit of an overview of what goes into it. Some of the things I say at every panel, and if you've watched any of the ones that I have on YouTube, is I talk about pinning. I pin about every quarter inch or so, and I've been doing it for a long time. That's the only way you can really keep the round or the around the foot. Me anyway, I just have not got myself to a skill level where I can use less pins. Anyone who can, oh man, hats off to you. I can't seem to get the fabric to stay. I've also found that if I don't pin like the foot that much, then it'll twist this or that way. And then the whole leg is not great, and you got to take it apart. I actually, like on the bottom, I always make sure that the grain of the fabric goes the opposite way, not the long way. If you put the grain long way, the foot will end up being long instead of kind of puffy. Little secret things like that. Or it's like, took forever, like some would look right, some wouldn't look right, and we finally figured out it was the way the grain went. So little things like that, try to always remember. Also, if you're new to plush making and you want to start out, I suggest starting out on fleece, just because it kind of does the same thing or behaves similar to minky, like it has a nap, so it moves this way. Now it doesn't have the stretch minky does. It has a little bit of stretch, but not too much. But I would start there because it's a fairly inexpensive fabric, and you can get some different contrasting colors so you can really see what you're doing when you're first starting to sew them. And then move to the minky. Minky is quite expensive. It goes anywhere from like $10 to $22 depending on a yard, depending on the quantity you order it in, where you order it from. I've got quite a few distributors that I get it from, so if there's anyone who's interested in particular ones, I can give you that information. But there's also different qualities of minky. There's Shannon is the one that I mostly use. I do use a couple of others, but you have to be careful because they'll stretch differently. But you might want that for, like, I use a totally different fabric on my princesses because I want them to stretch and be lean and tall. Shannon doesn't stretch as lean and tall, so I don't use that on my princesses. I use different ones. For the stuffing, I just use a normal polyfill. I did try working with some cottons because I thought that might be really awesome for maybe people might have allergies or something, but it just kind of balled up and it didn't do well. Like I made one and I kind of handled it for a while and it got lumpy and it was just so, no, that didn't work out, so I didn't do that. Yes?
I'm just curious, how do you get your stuffing to be so even and solid? I have difficulty stuffing mine so they come out pretty good.
Okay. Stuffing is really an art in itself, as you have come to know. The young lady that I told you about that actually kind of introduced me to ponies, she works a lot with me and she does a lot of the stuffing for me. She's like a master at it. But what you want to do is you want to use varying size of sticks. The little tiny sticks that come with the stuffing most of the time, they don't work that great unless you want to get something into a little tiny spot somewhere. I use ones that are, what would that be? I don't know, quarter inch, no, more than a quarter inch, maybe a half-inch dowel. And when I want to stuff far in that I can't reach, and I'll take and I'll cut a little thing in it, so it's kind of looks like that on the end. And that helps to kind of grab it and put it where you want it. It's also important when you go in that you have this motion, not this motion. So you want to bring it down the leg and you want to swish it like this. If you swish it like this, it kind of will just go around your outside smoothly. When you just put it in, it'll start to ball up. Not always. I've also found that different containers of the stuffing sometimes will act differently. I've had giant boxes where you go to use it and all it keeps doing is balling up. So throw this away. And you get a different box because, I don't know, the run maybe was at the end or the beginning. I don't know. But I hope that helps. If it doesn't, then I can talk to you some more about it. Okay. And then, I'm sorry. Yes?
I noticed that you attach your manes and tails after your main character is stuck.
Yes.
Is that done by hand?
Yes.
Or is that done by machine?
No, all by hand. All that is done by hand. What stitch do I use when I do it? Oh, applique work? Sure, you could do it that way. Are you talking about putting the different colors in?
So it's the assembly.
Oh, for the assembly. Oh, I don't know. I use, I don't know if you could use an applique stitch. I suppose so. Yeah, I use like a lock stitch. So that's what I use when I sew it on by hand. I have I see you back there. I have talked to some other plush makers, and they've told me some different ways that they're attaching their manes and tails. So I didn't realize how many different ways there possibly could be. So there's like, nothing is wrong. As if it works for your plush, and for it's comfortable for you to do, you enjoy it, then it's totally fine. Yes? You do. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. It's minky. It's just a different supplier. I use a different supplier for them because I want a minky that stretches longer, has more stretch in it. It basically is what it is. It has more stretch in it. I found it by chance. It was completely by accident. I happened to say, oh, let's give this manufacturer a try, see what it's like, and I didn't actually know it was doing that until I stepped back and looked at it against another one. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. So, yes? Where do I get fabrics?
Is Joann's a good place to get fabrics?
You can get some from Joann's. They have a very limited, if you're talking about minky, they have a very limited amount of colors. So, and they have like mostly primary colors like blue, red, yellow, and then like the baby colors, light pink and blue and green for like baby blankets. So I've actually bought minky there to make like test patterns and whatnot. But for the most part, as far as like making them, no, you wouldn't find the right colors. So I don't do that there. So, yes, ma'am. I do it after I cut it out. Yeah.
Oh, she's about.
Oh, I see. Okay. So on the design lines on Pinky's tail, I do those freehand. I do them myself. I don't use my machine. Otherwise, yeah, you wouldn't be able to come out. No, it would not work at all. Now this, well, yeah, this one, this small one, this fits inside the embroidery machine. So this is actually done with the embroidery machine, but my bigger ones are not.
So you do that
Before I cut it out. Yeah, definitely. It wouldn't fit in the machine. She's like, how's she getting on the hoop? Right. How you doing that? You got some special hoops or something. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, they're on one piece. That, yes, they are. That's the kind of the difference between mine and most plush makers. If there is another plush maker that uses a single side pattern, I haven't come across their work and would love to talk to them if they do. So
Just curious how you keep it lined up.
Okay, that's we have a pattern that is in the shape of a pony, and it has the eye location for, we have one for every pony because they have different eyes. And based on that, my husband did some kind of, some kind of math, and they know right where the center of this should be. So based on that and the shape of the square that I cut for them to embroidery on, they know where that center should be. Yeah, if you asked me, I can do the eyes, I can't do anything else. Yes, sir. It's embroidery, so it's all thread, and we use sulky thread and gutterman. So, and we order those, over online so that we can have a variety of colors. We're very picky about our embroidery thread color. If you're familiar with my plushes at all, and you go and look at them, my eyes and cutie marks are going to be like the shows. I go and I get their art sheets, and so I know what the creators of the ponies envisioned the colors to be, because all of our TVs are going to show a little bit different depending on how they're set up, how old they are, how new they are, flat screen, not. So I get actual art sheets. So what you see is what is supposed to be there. So we have just giant cards of thread, and we go, okay, where does which? Okay, order this one, order this one. It's kind of fun to have that. All the way in the back. Someone had a question in the back. Yes, ma'am. Or sir, I'm sorry.
I was wondering about like tail anchoring and durability. How do you get the main pony figure to keep its shape with all the weight hanging off the back? Do you find there's ever any situations when you have to put something ancillary on the inside to help maintain that, or no?
Okay. Yes. I mean, this is heavy. So all of my ponies have. I think all my ponies. Yeah, all of my ponies. In the back legs, there is a plastic urethane tube. I wish my husband was here. It is the same kind of tubing that you use in your refrigerators for the ice maker. So it's lead-free, all that stuff free. It's like safe and all that. And that's put into the leg. And then I put stainless steel wire. Oh, it's a loop that goes like this. And then the ends are bent, pinched into each other. When I put the loop in here, and then those two ends that come out, they slide right into those tubes. So there's never, you'll never be able to get a wire popping through the side of your pony or anything like that. But that adds the stability to the tail. And I know there's a lot of, there's a lot of controversy or talk about whether you want to have armature inside your pony. Some people use armature, some don't, or they do on some of their ponies and not some of their other ponies. I haven't had any problem with mine. In the very, very beginning, the very first ponies I ever even put wire in, because I didn't put them in the beginning, I just stuck it right into the pony. And they weren't very long, they were very short, but I found that when people handled them for a while, they could poke out. So as soon as I realized that could happen, we just stopped doing it, and then we figured out, okay, how can we make this never happen again? And that was the solution that we came up with. Now on the princesses, they're very tall, and I actually use that same thing in their front legs, so make sure that they don't end up going, because I try to make them really thin, like the show, like they're supposed to be. So those are in there. But there really isn't much you can do to hurt them. I've done a few repairs for people when they've brought them back to me at the show, like, oh, maybe their little wing thing came loose or something like that. But I mean, it's a handmade thing, so it's not unusual, especially if you take it everywhere with you, and I take mine everywhere, so I would hope we could. Yeah. Yes, sir?
How would you handle something different, such as like stripes on like the Cora?
You know, that's interesting. We've actually been talking about doing Sakura. My husband wants to make Sakura, and we've been kind of talking about that. We thought about, there's been people who've been using airbrushing as a way, and I'm not really sure how I like that because I don't know because I haven't done it. I think if you brush it, maybe it would look weird, like it wouldn't be where it should be. But I talked to one plush maker over the time I was at this show, I think she's here somewhere, and she was talking about some different techniques that sound very interesting that maybe you could use that. Right now, what we're planning to do is piece the colors in, just like I do hair, like we'll actually just, you know, where do we want the stripes or where should the stripes be? We'll cut those out and literally sew it together and then sew the pony. That's our plans right now. It's gonna be fun. It's fun. Anyone else?
Back there, to the right.
Yes.
What kind of embroidery machine do you use for the eye?
Okay. When I first started out, we were using the Brother 400, and we now have also a Brother 770, and we have a Singer, and I'm not sure the maker model on that, I'm sorry, but it does a much bigger field. The Brother 400 is an awesome place to start. They're cheap. You can get them for around $200, and they are workhorses. I mean, I've had this machine for 3 years, and it's a workhorse. If you keep it, you know, cleaned out. Yes, ma'am.
About that machine you're talking about?
Uh-huh.
Is it a programmable one?
Say that one more time.
Programmable.
Oh, programmable. I want to say no.
Yeah, you know, we design the embroidery, and then you can send it to the machine.
Right.
Yeah, so
Yeah. You can't program on the machine, but you hook it to your computer and you do all your you do all your digitizing, and then it goes up and your design shows up there and it prints. Now the only problem with it is it's not like the big fancy machines that have like 4, 5, 6 or more threads. It only does one thread at a time, so you have to change it between colors. But it is it's a total workhorse. I haven't had no problems with it. So that's why we decided, well, we'll get one that has a little bigger field so we could do bigger cutie marks and whatnot. And the 770 Brother has proved to be just as awesome as far as it's not having any, I haven't had even have them into service. It's just crazy how great they've been. Yes?
Do those come with a program, or do you have to buy a separate program?
They don't come with programs that you can create your own designs in. They come like most typical embroidery machines. They come with like set little pretty pictures that you can print. But there is free software that you can get. What is it? I'm sorry. Open source software.
We use Sophiso or something.
Yeah, there's a really good one out there called Sophiso. It's open source, so you can get it and use it. But you have to you design it, I think, in Sophiso, and you have to send it to something else. But it tells you in Sophiso what it is, so it can change the file to something the sewing machine can read. And the 770 uses a little jump drive, but the 400 plugs into your computer. Now, what's really awesome, if you're thinking about doing that and you aren't really familiar with like the software stuff, or if you want to get into that, there's a gentleman, his the Pony. He was here at this convention. He has files of most all of the eyes and cutie marks, and the files are such that they are very compatible with I know the Brother machines and several others. He can tell you, and He will sell you that whole file pack of all of the ponies' cutie marks and eyes, and for a while he was sending out free updates. So I don't know if that's still true, but if he does have updates, you'd be able to buy those, which would be like new ponies that come on the scene or what have you. And he's usually pretty quick with getting those up right away. We do all our own designing, but I know there's a lot of plush makers that use his because he does really great work. So then you don't even have to mess with the software. It's already, you know, it's ready to go into the machine. So that's a really good source. There's one girl here, then I'll come over to you. Yes, young lady. So I'm not quite sure I heard you. I think you said that your parents were interested in getting the fabric online?
Don't like ordering.
Don't like to order online. Did I understand that? Yes. But don't order online. Oh, that's totally fine. I mean, if you have access to a computer, you can go to any of these people's sites and get their mailing address or their telephone number and handle it over that. If there's a reason why you're not able to have access to a computer, I'd be more than happy to write all the stuff down and mail it to you.
Also, you can get all the colors.
Oh, yes, right, thank you. Another important thing my son just reminded me, what's really awesome is that you can contact these few people that I deal with, and they'll actually send you swatches of all of the colors of Minky that they have. So you already know what it's going to look like before you order it. So that's not free. They usually charge like $5 or something like that for it, but that's also a nice thing. Yes, ma'am.
When you're making uniforms, do you attach the horn separately or with the body of the plush?
I do it separately. Like I make the whole pony. I guess my, this is what I do. I make the pony, and then the first thing I'll do is I put their smile and nose on. Then I will move their ear and sew it into place how I'd like to have it. Then if there's the next thing I have to do, I will put the wings on, if they have wings. Then I will put the horn on. And then after that, I put the mane, and then I put the tail. Now, if it's a princess where they have regalia, I will put the regalia on before the wings, just because I have found that it's easier to sew that up nice and tight and then pin it up out of the way than trying to do it when the mane and wings and whatnot are on. It's kind of the order of my sewing. Yes? Oh, it's not hooked onto the mane. It's on the pony. It comes through her mane. Yeah. I can show you how I do that later if you want to, because you kind of have to see it. But I can show you how I do that. Yeah. So that's kind of the order of which yes.
So with like a mane like Princess Luna's where it's sort of transparent there, how would you do something like that?
I wish I had my Luna. I know it's supposed to be transparent, and I have not made a transparent one yet. I actually use, the middle part is a cobalt colored Minky, and then on the edge I use a real light blue like Rainbow Dash's body to kind of represent that transparent. And then I sew Swarovski crystals for the sparkles. I have always wanted to try to use like the real thin see-through. I've actually tried it a couple times, and I've really kind of not done a good job with it, not something that I would want to show anybody. There are some plush makers, and I know there's one in here somewhere. There she is. She does them fabulously well. She's able to translate that sheer flowing with her manes really well, so I would definitely check hers out. She's really good at that. Yes, ma'am.
How do you make the crowns on the front?
How do I? All of the crowns and necklaces and shoes, not these shoes, but the shoes that are on my princesses, they're all embroidery, just complete embroidery, like an embroidery patch. And then I just sew them on. They're very durable, so. I thought I had sewn this on, but I missed the one side. So I'll have to do that later. Yeah, it's a demo. Yeah. But yeah, all of the shoes on all of my princesses are separate. They're an actual shoe, and we put them on, and then I sew them on. It's been suggested that I have it where, you know, it comes on and off like magnetic, like DJ's glasses, but I'm just afraid people be carrying it around, you know, and it'll get bumped off, and then they'll be really bummed that they don't got the shoe. I wouldn't like that. So I have, I've just sew them directly on. Do you have my little bag? Where's my little bag? Okay, good. I didn't know it was up here. Did anyone else have any questions? Yes. Well, the pony's sewn, so there's no raw edge on the pony. And I just fold in the edge of the tail and then just set it on there, like, you know, roll the tail up inside itself and then finish stuffing it and then just sew it on like that.
So like a lock stitch?
Yeah, it's a lock stitch. Like I go in, catch it, lock it. So if for some reason one snapped, it wouldn't all come out because each one is a lock knot. Did you understand that? Did you understand what I was saying? Okay. I know. The technique for that would be to cut a straight line here and then kind of a 45 at this part right here. And then you would sew a flat piece of fabric here and a flat piece of fabric here, just like a taco shell.
But how would you do another piece of fabric for the top?
Yeah.
Or would you embroider that?
I could make a border patch.
They'd probably do embroidery patch so that it has that 3D, you know, and attach it like for the teeth or the tongue. Because if it's just fabric, then you might kind of miss it or it might just lay funny. Okay, so it's a time to do the raffle so that everybody has time to get to closing ceremonies because we don't want to miss that. So, are they shook up good? You shake it up, really good.
Yeah, there might be like, just blank, because there might be just blank numbers.
All right, we're good. Can I make a little girl pick it?
Or do you want to just call it Alex?
Yeah, should I let the little girl pick it?
If you want to.
I usually let the little girl pick it. You're going to take a picture for me, right?
Yeah, you two call a couple. I guess you could. Let's see. See, it's 2, 4, 3, 6, 5, 1. Is anyone? There might be a few. There might be a few blank ones. We might have to try redrawing again. Okay, because there's plenty of tickets in there. But like the suspense. Ah, I was so close. Or see, okay. Okay, let's see. 2, 4, 3, 5, 2, 8. Ah, we have a winner! Yes, you did. Yes. Oh, now for the apple time. Apple time. Okay. All right. So, number is 2, 4, 3, 4, 3, 1.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. It was great fun. I hope to see you next year. I hope to be here, and we'll have another awesome convention. Thank you for your help, little girl.